we have a Republican senator who, in the worst light, wants to ban interracial marriage and is going to hide behind the states' rights dog whistle. And in the best scenario, is just dumb enough to not be allowed to be in politics. Because apparently we have to talk about Senator Braun. Mike Braun is a senator from Indiana, and he had some interesting things to say. So let's go ahead and get into that after the fan art section. Now, this very first bit of fan art, I have a story to tell, basically, because there is quite the story in the fan art section. So I've been a pretty silent fan for the last 6-ish years. I'm not from the United States, so I can't relate to all the stuff that's posted, but I enjoy every bit of what I see. Online interactions give me too much anxiety to engage with in pretty much any way, so here's a token of gratitude that I can manage. The YouTube channel became one of my YouTube atheist safe spaces after I left the church back in 2015. You've made me laugh, made me cry, and feel my anger is justified so many times. Just thanks. Note, ever since I saw the first bit of fan art, I knew I had to make some, and when Witch Suris made her appearance, I knew that it had to be her, but I thought the other designs were cute too, so I mixed up some stuff and ended up with these 3 versions. I hope you like them. I go by dryan.art on Instagram in case this makes it into a video. Well, it is officially making it into a video right now, and here's the first piece. So, oh, that's kind of my story too. Also, cute art. Oh no, it is adorable, and there's a few other pieces to look at as well where that's concerned, because we have this one as well. There's a few variations on this piece, but they are all really cute. Some of them are Nekoized, some of them are not. 2 different versions of the Witch Suris model. Version with and without background here. Did I really love the art style? I do too. It looks really good. And like I said, there was a whole little story there, and I wanted to go ahead and post that here. The next bit we have is from Ivana Dragmeyer, and I will not say that word, rogue, and an Owo barbarian with their bouncy magician slime. This one, again, is from Ivana Dragmeyer, and it is a wonderful, wonderful piece. Every single time Ivana makes art, I'm just like, this is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. Say it. God fucking damn it, Ivana! Oh, fine. Apparently, with 50,001 channel points, I'll say the entire thing, because I guess that's what I have to do. Ivana Dragmeyer has paid 50,001 channel points, so it's an Owo rogue and an Owo barbarian. There you go. Are you happy? I've said it completely. I've said the full bit. You fucking troglodyte. I take it back. Your art is the art of terrorism. Completely. Anyway, moving on from that fustercluck, the next one we have is from Ice Cube, a doodle that they're working on. They've been following Suris for a while. This is the finished version right here. And again, this looks like a cute profile picture version for my character. It is very cute. As always, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown on a future episode, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, did you know that some of our Republican senators don't want interracial marriage to be a thing in the United States? Kana, what the fuck? I'm trying to talk about politics. Why the fuck do you do this? I'm trying to talk about stuff that is important, and you come in here with your words of war, dropping 50,001 channel points again. I don't even know where you got those things. Dear fucking God. Half the reason I want to move over to the website is because there are no channel points, and there's none of this war there. I can actually be safe over on Suris.cc. Till then, fuck. Oh, woo. Oh, woo. Kill me. fucking end me. Okay, it's politics. Politics. We're gonna watch a video. We're gonna watch a video together. You and me. All of y'all.
So you would be okay with the Supreme Court leaving the question of interracial marriage to the states?
Yes, I think that that's something that if you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. I think that's hypocritical.
What about Griswold versus Connecticut?
Well, you can list a whole host of issues. When it comes down to whatever they are, I'm going to say that they're not going to all make you happy within a given state, but that we're better off having states manifest their points of view rather than homogenizing it across the country as Roe versus Wade did.
So you...
Okay, so here's what he's referring to. Basically, and we're going to get into the article here, but basically the idea is that a lot of states want to leave the topic of Roe versus Wade up to an issue of states' rights. Don't make it a thing that is federally protected. Don't make abortion and privacy federally protected things, but make them things that are states' rights. Now, if you're not familiar with that dog whistle, I'll get into it in just a second, but homogenizing, basically saying that like the whole country has to think the same. That's what they're trying to say. But I think like having us have a uniform set of laws makes sense. If gay marriage is bad in one state, it should be bad in all of them. The gay marriage is good in one state, it should be good in all of them. There's nothing about something like that that like magically transcends standard conversations about morality. But what he's basically saying is that interracial marriage is another thing that should be put up to the idea of states' rights. You know, the idea that if you and somebody who has an arbitrary percentage more or less melanin in their skin than you, it should be up to your individual red or blue state, which will probably be the lines on which these are divided anyway, onto whether or not you should be allowed to date and or marry that person. You know, something, preserve a future for white children, something, go fuck off. So, we have an actual news article about this kind of stuff, and I want to read it with you so that it's not just me going into this. But the reason that we talk about the states' rights dog whistle is because of a very simple conversation about the Civil War. If I say to a conservative commenter, the Civil War was not the war of Northern aggression, it was a war fought over several issues, but one of the prime ones was the abolishment of slavery, by and large. To which the usual response is, nuh-uh, it was about states' rights. And that's a fair point until we have the secondary conversation of, okay, cool, states' rights to what? States' rights to what? Like, what specific right were Southern states trying to keep? It was about trying to keep Southern resources from the North. Oh, Southern which resources? Because if the answer is slaves and cotton, I swear to fuck, this conversation's very over. The conversation always hits the brick wall. There's a few ways that someone can kick the can in that conversation, but it always ends up coming down to slaves. States' rights to keep and maintain slaves, resource rights in terms of cotton and slaves, which were the highest yield resources in the South at the time. It always ends up being that. Damn it, sirs, you just activated my Google Home and now it's rambling about states' rights doctrine. That's right, conservative Google Home. You inconvenience my audience. You gave the exact same answer a Southern apologist tried on me, though he only mentioned cotton. That's because, Trash Cat Lionel, I live in the South and I have these conversations with real people face to face. Like, My channel is an extension of conversations that I have in general. As much as I would prefer to keep these two sides of my life separate, it is impossible to unpoliticize my conversation because of where I live. So, let's talk about what Senator Braun said, because we have an actual article on it. Said it's not easy for a non-judiciary community senator to make news on constitutional law, even as his colleagues are engaged in hearings on a U.S. Supreme Court nomination, but Indiana Senator Mike Braun managed to do that in an interview with reporters from his state. After Braun took the common Republican position that states, rather than federal courts, should control most aspects of abortion policy, he was asked if his committee comment on states' rights would extend to letting legislators and governors ban interracial marriage. To put it another way, if, as a matter of principle, the Supreme Court should reverse the 1973 decision in Roe v. Wade and turn the abortion issue back to the states, shouldn't it also reverse the 1967 decision on Virginia versus Loving and turn the interracial marriage issues back to the states too? That made sense to Braun, who said, as we saw in the video, that the court shouldn't homogenize national issues. If you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. He says he thinks it's hypocritical. This is one of those things where you hand somebody a lifeline, an olive branch. You try to hand them a thing and say, hey, so here's this thing, here's this almost reductio ad absurdum that shows that your position is bullshit. Don't bite the bullet. Please don't bite the bullet. I beg you not to bite the bullet. I'm handing you the olive branch. This is your way out of this line of thinking. And then instead he bites the bullet and continues to go with that little bit of the narrative. Now, even though Braun's background is that of a business person selling truck parts and accessories, not a lawyer, he presumably has a couple of lawyers on his staff. You can imagine their chagrin when the boss made that comment and thus embraced the rather radical idea, highly controversial since the end of the Civil War, that states' rights trump every other constitutional consideration. In the case of interracial marriage, a unanimous Supreme Court held that race-based marriage prohibitions blatantly isolated the Equal Protection Clause blatantly violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, a separate ground from the Due Process Clause basis of Roe. It's kind of hard to argue otherwise. To post-civil rights people, you know, it's why Braun is very alone in this contention. Later Tuesday, presumably after Braun's staff frantically reached him following the publication of the interview he had granted, the Hoosier lawmaker briskly walked back his remarks. Senator Braun walks back his comments saying he misunderstood the question. Oh? Interesting. There is no question the Constitution prohibits discrimination of any kind based on race. That is not something that's even up for debate, and I condemn racism in every form. All right, I have a question. If you were a person accused of racism on the internet, what would be the very first thing you said to defend yourself? What would be the very first blanket, safe statement you could say that would defend yourself and not put you on a cross to your supporters? It would be this one. Every single time somebody gets outed for racism in any way, shape, or form, they always go with, I don't stand up for this, and I condemn racism in every form. Now, there's one of two scenarios here. We could either bend over backwards and steelman, or we can go with a more likely scenario. It's going to be one or the other. So, let's go with the steelman first. The steelman is not that he misunderstood the question. That feels like the backpedal. I think he understood the question very well. The steelman is that he would assume in good faith that all 50 states would actually vote to keep interracial marriage. And he might be right. There is a high likelihood that he is correct there. I'm pulling that out of my ass. I do not know the actual polling numbers on the different states' ideas on interracial marriage. If somebody has that, that would change my mind on that. I believe that good faith position might be applicable. Now, if we go with what I think is more likely, that's a hyper steel man of his position. It is probably more likely that as he is in a position where he would not personally be inconvenienced by the illegalizing of interracial marriage, then it's not a thing he cares about, and therefore instead decided to speak, we'll go ahead and say, less than smartly about this situation. So they don't have a black friend anymore. They killed off Herman Cain with the Rona. Ugh. Steel man, yeah, it's the opposite of a straw man. It's where you try to take their statement and you make it as strong as possible so that you can argue against that statement. The argument against the steel man is that if even one state bans interracial marriage, then you were fucking wrong the whole time. I mean, one of their own party Supreme Court members is in an interracial marriage. Well, yeah, but according to him, it shouldn't be up to the Supreme Court anyway. But the walk back is interesting. I agree with something that's said in the article. It's unclear how Braun misunderstood such a direct question. Indeed, one reporter said the question was asked multiple times in different ways to ensure that Braun meant and understood what he said concerning interracial marriage. But maybe he just meant he misunderstood constitutional law. Who knows? Who knows? At the end of the day, though, we have a Republican senator who, in the worst light, wants to ban interracial marriage and is going to hide behind the states' rights dog whistle. And in the best scenario, is just dumb enough to not be allowed to be in politics. One of the two. Said also Alabama exists. Understandable. You're not wrong. Alabama and Tennessee exist. You notice he didn't even try to explain how he misunderstood his own reply? Well, no, because again, I don't think he misunderstood. That's why in my Steel Man, I don't take that he misunderstood. I take him at his word in the way he argued at the time he had the interview, not during the middle of a PR nightmare. So dumb enough to not be allowed in politics to like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert? Yes. Damn, you didn't have to call my state out like that? Yes, I did. I'm terrified that he tried to dog whistle to dipshits. Like what? So here's the thing, though. The glorious thing about a dog whistle is that when somebody says it, they might not even know they're saying it. Because let's take something like the OK hand signal. We know that people have used that to signal white power. We know that's a thing. But if somebody does that just nonchalantly in the middle of the road, there's no way to tell if they're using the dog whistle or not. They might literally just be saying, okay. It happens in a very high majority of cases. So when he says states' rights, it could easily be he's heard that argument from people in his party and constituency, does not agree with the civil rights virtue signal, not civil rights virtue signaling, the Civil War virtue signaling, and just falls into the states' rights dog whistle because that's the language being used around him by his constituents. That is a likely scenario. You don't always have to assume that even your enemy is saying something in malice that can be understood just as easily due to incompetence. Wasn't the OK thing a 4chan hoax? So here's the timeline of that. The OK thing was a 4chan hoax that then got adopted by actual white supremacists and then became real. Like, yes, it was a 4chan hoax. It began as that, and then it evolved. Yeah, never assume malice when stupidity is also an option. This is the marble zone of political communication. I love Sonic fans. By the way, go subscribe to Sunset City if you haven't already. Anyway, that's as much as I have to say about that situation. That's a weird one. I don't know how to feel about shit like that, but it's there, and it sucks. With that said, though, if you enjoy my content and what I do, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you have not already done so. Hop into the comment section and let me know what you think, if that is a thing that you are able to do, and you got the spoons to do it. If you also have not checked out my Patreon and you want to support my channel, that is one of the best direct ways to do so. You also get access to behind the scenes footage, which is sometimes a vlog, sometimes it's about the pets, sometimes you get to see cute fluffy animals running around in the woods. I'm not even joking. It really just depends. But that all said, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. And as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.